buckle up, everybody, because today we are taking a deep dive into the world of Bitcoin ETFs.
That's right.
And specifically all this news about huge amounts of money flowing into them.
Absolutely.
So I've been looking at some numbers, and honestly, they're pretty mind-blowing.
Oh, yeah.
One source even mentioned a record $3.38 billion
Wow.
in just 1 week.
Yeah, in just 1 week.
Going into Bitcoin ETFs.
That's right.
I mean, that's a serious chunk of change.
It's massive.
And it really seems like we're not talking about, your typical day traders trying to make a quick buck,
Yeah, definitely not.
This feels different.
Yeah, it does feel different. What we're seeing, I think, is a real shift in perception.
Yeah.
Investors are starting to see Bitcoin as more than just like this volatile cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And looking at it as a potential store of value.
Okay.
Like a digital version of gold, even.
Oh, wow. Hold on. Digital gold.
Right.
I mean, that's a pretty bold statement.
It is.
What is driving that kind of comparison?
I think there are a few key factors at play.
Okay.
First, Bitcoin, just like gold, has a limited supply.
Mm-hmm.
There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins.
Right.
And that creates a sense of scarcity.
So this limited supply, that's one of the reasons why people would compare it to gold.
Exactly. It's scarcity.
Okay, got it.
The second thing is that Bitcoin is decentralized.
Okay.
It's not controlled by any government or institution.
Right.
And that appeals to a lot of investors who are looking for assets that are outside of the traditional financial system.
So kind of like a safe haven.
Yeah, exactly, like a safe haven asset.
Okay.
And then finally, you just can't ignore the inflation hedging argument.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one, right?
It is a big one. In times of economic uncertainty, people often flock to assets like gold that tend to hold their value during those times.
Mm-hmm.
And some investors think Bitcoin could play a similar role in this digital age.
So it's like digital gold.
Yeah, like a digital gold rush almost.
So it's not just about the technology.
Right.
It's about economics,
Absolutely.
psychology, the whole picture.
Absolutely.
But why are ETFs suddenly the go-to way for investing in Bitcoin?
I think ETFs offer a certain level of accessibility and familiarity that was previously missing in the crypto world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. Buying and storing Bitcoin directly can be kind of intimidating for the average investor.
For sure.
And then not to mention institutional investors who have all these regulatory hurdles to clear.
Exactly.
ETFs simplify that whole process and allow people to invest in Bitcoin through their traditional brokerage accounts.
So it's easier.
Way easier, much more accessible.
Okay, now you mentioned institutional investors.
Yes.
And one of our sources pointed out BlackRock.
Right.
The investment management giant.
Absolutely.
As a major player with their iShares Bitcoin Trust.
Yeah, that was big news.
It was big news.
When they launched that.
What about other big names in the ETF space?
Oh, for sure. So BlackRock getting into the Bitcoin ETF market is definitely a sign of this growing mainstream acceptance.
Okay.
But they're not alone.
Right.
Grayscale, another major player, has their Bitcoin Trust ETF, which has actually accumulated significant assets, but also has seen some interesting outflows since its launch.
Really?
Yeah, and it's important to highlight that the crypto market is still incredibly volatile.
For sure.
And even with ETFs, investors really need to be prepared for these ups and downs.
It's a roller coaster.
It is a roller coaster ride.
Speaking of ups and downs, this isn't just a Wall Street story.
Right.
This is a global phenomenon.
It absolutely is.
I mean, you look at the data and there's strong ETF inflows in places like Australia.
That's right.
Canada.
Yep.
Hong Kong. It seems like there's international interest in Bitcoin.
For sure. I think in some regions, the regulatory clarity around crypto is actually further along than in the U.S. And that could be contributing to this faster ETF adoption that we're seeing in some places.
So if we zoom out and look at the big picture, what does this global surge in Bitcoin ETF activity tell us about the future of cryptocurrency?
Well, I think it's a strong signal that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general is moving further into the mainstream. As ETFs make investing in Bitcoin easier and more accessible, we're likely to see even greater institutional adoption. And that could bring more stability and maturity to the market.
That's really interesting to think about, this shift towards mainstream acceptance.
Yeah.
How might it impact not just the financial world, but our everyday lives?
Yeah, absolutely.
If Bitcoin continues on this path, will we see it integrated into our payment systems,
It's possible.
our saving strategies, even our understanding of what money is.
I mean, those are exactly the questions we need to be asking. The rise of Bitcoin ETFs is just one chapter in a much larger story about the evolution of finance and technology. And it's a story that's still being written.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And I think that's a perfect place to leave our listeners with some food for thought.
Absolutely.
So keep those questions in mind as you watch the story unfold. And until next time.
Happy investing.
Happy investing.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.